This week on the Analog Circle podcast, guys, Nintendo is being sued. There has been a new leak for the PlayStation 2 VR. New alleged info has come out about Zelda's Breath of the Wild 2. And GameStop's president of merchandising thinks GameStop is going to be around for a long time. All of these stories and so many more, well, not a whole lot more, a few more, in episode 106 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and it brings me great pleasure to be back here again with you guys for another week. So sorry for the late episode. Like I said, I have been running around at work. It's been very hectic, and then when I'm not working, I am resting. Gonna be quite honest about that. But without further ado, since there was no feedback this week, I would like to get into what I have been into for the most part. Now, I was lucky enough and absolutely blessed enough to have gotten a copy of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And unfortunately, I was not able to get into the game. I didn't get a chance to. That person that was kind enough to do that for me, trust me, I promise you, I will definitely be getting into it very, very soon. This week, actually, I promise I'm going to be getting into the game because I can't wait to see what all of the hype and the lore and the beauty of this game is going to be. I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I'm looking forward to getting my chance to get up at bat and swing to see what I can hit for with the game. So outside of that, though, I was able to play Judgment, which is a PlayStation 4 exclusive game. And I have to tell you guys, Judgment, it's the same people that have been behind the Yakuza series, same people that made Fist of the North Star Paradise, and now they have Judgment. This game has been absolutely great. I have really enjoyed it. Graphically, man, the game looks good. Looks really, really good. You guys know I'm a big physics guy. The physics on some of these character models are absolutely fantastic. Not quite ragdoll physics, but doggone close. I mean, Sega did an excellent job with that. On top of that, the character models are great. But I will say, if I have to let you guys know some of the more downsides, I guess more of a downside to the game outside of the gameplay being smooth, graphics being great, story being very, very good. I would say that this is not a traditional open world game. This is not a Grand Theft Auto style game where you can just go anywhere that you want. You got a million different activities that you can do. It's not quite that. You know, it'll be places that you can't go to. A big X will pop up and let you know, hey, this is as far as you can go. And, you know, that might be a problem for some people. You can't get in vehicles or on vehicles in this game. Everything is done on foot, which in turn makes the world not nearly as expansive as a Grand Theft Auto, or, I mean, we could even say like Saints Row, even taking it years and years back. It's just not that. So if that's what you're expecting, that's not going to be it in Judgment. That's not what you're going to get. But I would say also the other thing that may turn off some game players is the fact that a lot of cutscenes have been playing. I mean, a ton. I'm only about maybe 2-3 hours in, and I mean, I feel like I've seen more cutscenes than I have actually been able to play the game. That's a bit of a problem. I know a lot of people like to be in the action. They don't like these long, drawn out cutscenes, but it really does build that story up to just a very nice level, and getting the background on the characters. And I mean, to me, it really does add to the lore of the game for me personally. But if you're not a person that likes those long, drawn-out cutscenes. I mean, they're not Hideo Kojima long cutscenes, but they are long enough to possibly turn off some players. So outside of those critiques, though, it's nothing else, in my opinion, that's negative about the game. I do like the fact that they have the English, not subtitles, but the English dubbed version, or you can have the game play in Japanese, which it was originally recorded in. So I like the fact that you have those two options. And I know in the Yakuza series, there was never a dubbed version. You had to actually read it. It was all subtitles. So if that was something that turned you off in the Yakuza series, at least with Judgment, you won't have to worry about that being the case. So I would definitely say, I don't know if I would say it is a must buy or even a buy, because some game players just might not be into it because of those elements that I told you guys about, as far as the world not being open world, it not being as big and as expansive as a Grand Theft. You can't get in vehicles. Everything is on foot, long cutscenes. I don't know if it's going to appeal to a lot of gamers, but I would definitely recommend, if you could get it for $40 or even, and I hate to, say that like, man, it's not worth full price, but if you could get it for 40, I would say it should be well worth your hard-earned money. I would think so. But outside of that has been about all I have been into this week, guys. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what we always come here for. And that is for the gaming news that went down. So in our first news story, let's take a trip down Rumor Boulevard. Matter of fact, you guys have probably already seen this. There was a rumor out there from this Reddit user that was called Throwaway1113454, who was out there saying that Rockstar was remaking the original Red Dead Redemption for a 10-year anniversary, and it was supposed to be out in 2020, no later than 2021. Well, this Reddit user has come clean about this and said that he was lying about it. This is not true. This rumor has been debunked. Also, the DLC rumor about Red Dead Redemption 2 was debunked as well, because they were saying that it was supposed to be some aliens kind of DLC, or, something with single player DLC. Two of them that were supposed to be coming, and that was debunked as well. And when I was reading this, I was a little skeptical, because we have never seen Rockstar ever, not once, at least to my knowledge, ever come out with a remake of any game that they've done. I think Bully might have been the only one, and it wasn't a remake. They just made it from the PlayStation 2 era, brought it over to the PlayStation 3 and the 360 era. But that was about as far as they went, and that made sense because that was on the tail end of that generation. So it made sense to bring it over to the current generation systems, which were at the time the PS3 and the 360. So if anybody thought that this was going to happen, and my goodness, I thought it would have been fantastic if it was true. I mean, gosh, Rockstar, I would absolutely buy a remade version of Red Dead Redemption, the original. I mean, he went into all kinds of detail, saying that, the voice actor of John Marston was coming back. They were giving him extra lines to say to kind of make it really sync up with the second Red Dead Redemption, which was the prequel to the first. So, I mean, nonetheless, this was already debunked, and, man, kind of sad about it, but hey, that's why rumors are just that. They are strictly rumors until proven otherwise. Moving on into some Mortal Kombat 11 news. Now, it was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con that Spawn will be added in the game and will be part of the first combat pack. Now, unfortunately, there was no release date given. Now, the creator of Spawn, Todd McFarlane, told NetherRealm to not hold back and that they are free to push the envelope with his character. And his quote was, "I want you to get crazy." End of quote. Now, NetherRealm has also been pulling inspiration from various comics of the character to keep him as authentic as possible. Let me tell you something, guys. This is just personally, I was the biggest Spawn fan. Oh my goodness. Back during the 90s when HBO had the animated series. Oh, hey man, I used to look forward to Fridays. I would get some pizza. Little Caesars was my joint back then. Get me some Little Caesars pizza. Sit up in my room. Sometimes my parents would get me, any Friday food, subs, chicken boxes, whatever you want to call it, man. I would just wait for that to come on. And the thing that I loved about that cartoon was it was raw. I mean, it was bloody. It was just adult themed. So, and on top of that, I've been collecting the comic books from way before that series had ever came out on HBO. So for me to see Spawn come back, I've been wanting a Spawn video game for forever. I don't think it's gonna ever happen. The closest thing we've got to Spawn being in a video game was, I believe, he was in a fighting game. I can't remember which one it was, but he did make an appearance in one of the fighting games where I think he was an exclusive character, either on the PlayStation or the Xbox. It was one of those. I think it was Xbox, but I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I do like the fact that Todd McFarlane has said that they can do whatever they want with Spawn, which means, I know when it comes to their IPs or their properties, they never want to have that character look, bad, or, they don't want the character to be seen in a bad light. I know that for years, that's why a lot of car manufacturers in video games, they wouldn't have them take damage, have the car models take damage, because they didn't want their brand to look, bad. But I do like the fact that Todd McFarlane said, hey man, you can go crazy. I don't want my character to get any special treatment. I want him to fit in to the Mortal Kombat universe as a character. He said, I don't want people to see Spawn as the Spawn character. I want him to fit in to the Mortal Kombat series, so people just look at him as another character. So I thought that was really dope that he's letting NetherRealm have that freedom with his character, and I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. I don't have Mortal Kombat 11. I'm not a big fighting game fan, and I'm not going to sit up here and say that I'm going to get it because of Spawn, but I will definitely check out some streams to see what Spawn will be able to do. Let's move on into some quick news, though. This is very fast news. Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 has sold more than 9 million copies, making it the best-selling superhero video game, beating out Batman Arkham City, which is a multi-plat. Now, this absolutely debunks the question of, do exclusives matter? This thing sold 9 million copies, way more copies than a multiplat, being once again Batman Arkham City, which was a fantastic game. At the time, that was the best superhero game I had ever played, bar none. And even Arkham Knight, to this day, I like Arkham Knight way better than Spider-Man. That's my personal opinion. I think the story was just absolutely phenomenal in Arkham Knight. I'm still playing through Spider-Man, haven't finished it. Maybe the story will shock me or kind of draw me in a little bit more, because Spider-Man is excellent. Make no mistake about it. Spider-Man has been a fantastic experience, but just something about Arkham Knight was just phenomenal to me. I mean, I loved it. I mean, graphics were absolutely amazing for the time. The graphics still look great now. And it was just a better game, but that's not the point or the case in point with this. What's amazing is that Sony was able to sell this many units, 9 million copies. Now, some people might say that Spider-Man is the bigger draw versus Batman. That could be possible, but the thing is, it was strictly for the PlayStation 4, which is just absolutely amazing. Console exclusives matter. They move units. They sell your product. And this is just a prime case that shows you that you don't have to release your game on everything to get the results that you want, as long as you're putting together a solid game that everybody can enjoy. Moving on into some not so good Nintendo news. A class action suit has been filed against the company in the U.S. District Court in Washington by the law offices of KSD&D, which stands for their names, Schwartz, Kreiner, and Donaldson Smith, something like that. But they're being sued because of the controller drift law. Now, this lawsuit was filed on behalf of California resident Ryan Diaz, who claimed that after 11 months, his Joy-Cons start drifting, so he sent it in for repairs, and a few months later, they started drifting again. So then he went out and bought some new Joy-Cons, and bam! Those stopped working. So what does Nintendo have to say about this? Because this guy's hurting over here. Him and tons of other people. They're hurting. So what did Nintendo have to say about this? Well, they said, and I quote, "At Nintendo, we take great pride in creating quality products, and we are continuously making improvements to them. We are aware of the recent reports that some Joy-Con controllers are not responding correctly. We want our customers to have fun with Nintendo Switch, and if anything falls short of this goal, we always encourage them to visit," and this is the website, http://support.nintendo.com, so we can help. End of quote. Now, this was the thing, when I wrote this originally, Nintendo didn't come out with the actual report that they have now, where they're saying that they're offering refunds to people that are having this problem, and they're willing to fix your Joy-Cons for free as well. So if you want a refund, you can get it. If you want to get your Joy-Cons fixed for free, you can get it. And I believe they also said that they're refunding your money for getting your Joy-Cons fixed as well. So I think that's great for Nintendo to do that. This is a flaw that has been in the Switch system since launch. I remember hearing about this at launch, which made me a little leery to get it during that launch season, which is why most of the time I'll wait to get a console. I usually wait 1 year before I get the new console because I don't want the bugs that everybody else has had. Now, I don't know if my Switch is going to start drifting on me or not. I just opened it up. Like I said, literally it's been maybe about a month now that it's been open. I haven't had any problems, but like Mr. Diaz said, it took 11 months for him to start getting this drifting problem. So hopefully mine won't start messing up. But we'll definitely see, and I'm glad to see that Nintendo is taking responsibility for this, because at one time they actually said, and I quote, "We have no comment on this matter." So they were ducking, but I guess as they saw that this problem wasn't just going to go away and be swept under the rug, they decided to get out in front of it, and now they're going to make sure that they take care of the people that are having problems with this drifting situation with the controller. So let's move on into some GameStop news. Now, let's talk about GameStop, because as of late, they haven't been doing too well financially, and people like myself think that it's only a matter of time before they go the way of Blockbuster. Well, Vice President of Merchandising at GameStop, Mr. Eric Bright, sees it differently. And I quote, this guy said this: Culture. He says, GameStop is focused on games and gaming culture overall. Any way that we can look at monetizing overall digital sales, we will. You can be assured of that, given the fact that we have 65 million members in Power Up Rewards. We're no more than a skateboard ride away from 80% of the overall population of the United States. We have 45,000 of the most, now this dude lying, of the most knowledgeable game associates, which are basically the distributed sales force for the entire industry working for us. What? Okay. He says our partners know that partnering with GameStop on all the new ways of monetization are in their best interests. So we're engaging in conversations with everyone as new formats come out. Much like we were able to sell digital and are able to sell digital codes in every single GameStop store and online today. As new subscription models come out and evolve, GameStop will evolve right along with it. End of his quote. Man, this guy's somewhat delusional. I have been in GameStop a bunch of times in the past, and these guys aren't that knowledgeable. Now, no diss to anybody that might be listening to this that works at GameStop. No diss, brother. But I can only go off of what I have experienced. And these guys look like they are just in there to sell products, and that's it. I'm asking them, man, what do you think about, E3? One guy was like, I don't know. I don't know about it. I'm like, what? So look, maybe over the years they have built up the force, the team, the GameStop team force that actually knows about gaming. That they're really in the culture, they're in the know, because according to them, GameStop, they're saying that they're into the games and the gaming culture overall. So, this guy, I don't know, some of these words being a skateboard away from a GameStop. I'm gonna tell you something, brother. You mess around on a skateboard around where I live, brother. GameStop is a little ways away, man. It ain't that far. It's a good mile, maybe a mile and a half. It's not that far. I guess if you want a skateboard, you could make it, but nonetheless, I don't know. Didn't Sony, to his point of saying they can sell digital, didn't Sony take away some of their digital cards, or kind of I think it was actually the games. I don't know if Sony took away the cards, but the games, I think they said that they couldn't sell digitally because Sony wanted all of that revenue. So, who's to say that in the future that Microsoft, Nintendo and Sony couldn't just say, look, I don't want you to sell the cards here. I don't want to have my games here for digital sale, cause I think GameStop was upset about that when Sony had pulled that move. Now, the only thing that I can think that would make the three big manufacturers play nice with GameStop is the fact that they have to supply their stock. They have to deal with GameStop if they want to put their new consoles out. I understand you still have Walmart, you got Target, you got Best Buy, along with various online retailers as well, but a lot of people do still go to GameStop for the game. So I'm sure that they don't want to burn that bridge completely, which is probably why they will stay in business, because it would be a conflict of interest if you upset GameStop, who is, the biggest game seller out there. When you think about Walmart, you don't necessarily think about games when you think about any of those other stores. Games, yeah, they sell them, but you're not going to get the better deals, as crazy as that sounds, versus what you'll get at GameStop. So we'll see how this comes out. They may be around for a little while longer than we thought, but we'll see what happens in the future. Let's move on to the next story. So let's talk about some alleged Breath of the Wild 2 news. And this stuff was wild to me when I was reading this. Now, as always, we're taking this left turn down Rumor Boulevard. So from this point on, I encourage you to take this info with a mustard seed of truth. We already saw what happened with Red Dead Redemption. So, getting into this rumor. Now, according to the rumor, the game will release late next year or early 2021. Now, that doesn't sound too crazy. That doesn't sound out of the ordinary. But this is when it took a real sharp left turn for me, because it said the game is going to release between next year in 2021 alongside the new, more powerful Nintendo Switch which will be a home console only, and is being reported to be just as strong as a PlayStation 4. And it's being, well, wait a minute, let's just stop right there. Now, of course, once again, these are all rumors, brothers and sisters, these are rumors, okay? But from what I've heard about this alleged new, more powerful Nintendo Switch, some people are calling it the Nintendo Switch Pro, I haven't heard that it was going to be a home console only console. I always thought that it was going to be just like the Switch. You would be able to take it on the go, and you would be able to, play it like you play the regular Switch. You might just get a better screen that might be 1080p. Just small little nuances to make it better. We know that the new Switch that's coming out, the battery life, I think is a half an hour or an hour long, but little things like that, nothing major like this rumor is saying. So back to the rumor, having PlayStation 4 graphics. Now, it also said, being designed to be a current system, they're saying it's being designed to be a complementary to the current system. It's also allegedly being reported that the name of the new Zelda game will be Breath of the Darkness. That sounds suspect. And it will take place in a ruinous version of the world of its predecessor. Now, this rumor actually came from 4chan. So, I don't know, man. Would that be dope if Nintendo made a PlayStation 4-esque powerful console that is just for the home, and then you could use the Switch to some kind of way sync the game up from that console and take it on the go? I don't even know how that would work. That sounds like some crazy voodoo magic, woo kind of stuff if you're thinking about it like that. Now, whether or not this is true or not, I would wish it would be true, because the Nintendo Switch is doing excellent right now. They have sold almost as much as the doggone Xbox One right now. They're in like the mid-30s. The last time I checked. Nintendo is doing absolutely incredible with the Nintendo Switch, which, thinking about it now, because you guys know that I start thinking about things on the fly as I'm doing the show instead of beforehand, but that makes me wonder, why would they even gamble with switching up the formula so much? Because the Switch is doing so well right now, why would you want to disrupt that? So I don't know if that's going to be true, but nonetheless, next year or early 2021, I don't think that's anywhere near outside of the possibility of happening, that's when the game will be released, because that would mean that it was in development at least 2 or 3 years, I'm sure. I think that's enough time to turn it around and get a new Zelda game out, but I really think that it sounds good if it's going to be true, where you're going to be in a ruinous version of the world, of its predecessor, which it looks, like I said, the tone is darker. It looks more mature. It looks so good, man. I'm just really, really excited to see what happens with this, but I'm not going to harp on this much longer. Let's go ahead and move into the next story. Now, if you are a N64 enthusiast and would love a reason to dust your console off, Eon has released the Eon Super 64, which is a new plug-and-play device that connects the N64 to modern TV displays via HDMI, and the adapter will upscale Nintendo 64 games to 480p. And the device will also include an optional slick mode that smooths out jagged edges to give games a smoother look. Now, the device itself plugs into the console standard TV out port, and it's no more hardware needed, nothing else. That's all you do. You plug it up to that standard TV output, and that's all you need. Now, if this does interest you, you can get it on Amazon, which, well, it was sold out at the time I looked it up, but Amazon, it was $150. Now, they say it's going to be a lag-free experience as well, so, it's no need for you to keep that bulky old CRTV with this device. Now, I will say this. I looked at some videos of this. Now, granted, this thing is $150 darn dollars. A doggone N64 doesn't cost $150 if you're not getting it with the box and no games, all of that stuff. If you're just getting the console itself, I think you can get it for like $50, maybe $60 on eBay. This thing is $150. I looked at these videos and I said, it is no way. I would not recommend this to anybody for $150. Yeah, it smooths it out a bit. I mean, just a little darn bit. It's not anything that is jaw-dropping. It's nothing that's like, whoa, do you see the difference? This is amazing. Oh my gosh. Nah, brother. Not even close. $150, it almost feels like it's a robbery. But it does depend on, I guess, how much you love your N64. If you want to play it on your regular your regular HD TV, plug it up through the HDMI, then, hey, it works. It does. I think, what's his name? Metal Jesus? I think he calls himself Metal Jesus. He had actually got his N64 modded with the HDMI built in, and I think it was like $300. I mean, it was super expensive for him to do that. So if you're a person that was thinking about doing that, this is definitely a much cheaper, my goodness, a way cheaper option if you have to play your N64 on your HD TV. But for me personally, I would say look up those videos. I didn't see it, Chief. It didn't work for me, but somebody else might feel differently. Anyway, moving on to the final story this week and more PlayStation VR news. There is a leak of patents that have surfaced. So according to the leak, the new PlayStation VR headset will cost $249 and it will support a resolution of 2560 by 1440, a refresh rate of 120 hertz, a viewing angle of 220 degrees. It'll have 5-hour battery life and also have eye tracking technology, and the VR headset will be wireless. And the graphics processor should process what the player sees in front of him faster, which will in turn make gameplay more realistic and gameplay smoother. Now, due to a new graphics rendering technology. Now, we had heard rumors about this earlier in the year where one of the people over at Sony said this wouldn't be releasing next to the PlayStation 5 because they don't want people to feel like they're going to be peripheraled out. They don't want people feeling like they have to buy this right away. But I do like the fact that they are releasing, at least according to the patents. So we can't 100% say this will be the end result, but according to the patents, we see that this is what we're going to get, a wireless headset. That was already mentioned back then, a couple of months ago, but the wireless headset, $250. With a resolution of 2560 by 1440, that is a huge bump up. So for anybody that's looking forward to the continuation of VR on the PlayStation, at that price point of $250, that is a excellent price point. I really hope that stands firm and true to being what it absolutely comes out to be. So we'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, though, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week. And we will be back after this week's video game theater with the final section of the podcast. Stay tuned, guys.
I am pleased with our progress. I understand they have located another squad. Our strategy remains the same. Cut off the head of the snake, and the body dies. We will win this war. It's only a matter of time.
No, we're here for Alpha and the Resonator. Come on!
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back. We're in the final section of the podcast as always. And the question that I wanted to ask you guys this week is, do you still have faith in Gears 5? Now, me personally, a lot of people have been so hard on Gears 5 as of late. Yeah, I was totally PO'd at the fact that they didn't show any campaign footage of the game. They concentrated on a daggone cinematic scene of the game as opposed to showing people what the real game is going to look like. Then they show multiplayer out of all things. Like, that's really what everybody wanted to see. And, lately people have just been saying that this Gears, it's looking real spooky out there. It's looking like it's not going to be the Gears that we're hoping for. I'll say this. I think that Gears 5 is going to be great. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Gears 5 is going to be fantastic. It's going to definitely be a change in the series. They're already saying that it's the biggest Gears that has ever been made. Now, I don't know if Rod Ferguson is referring to big as in how long it's going to take for you to beat the game, or big as in how big the actual Gears world is going to be. So that's up for debate right now. But I think that Rod and the team will do well at this. So that's what I would like to know from you guys. As always, you can chime in two different ways. You can either email the show. The email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com, or you can call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard. Anyway, I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been fantastic. I love recording these, love talking to you guys, but we're out of here. But until then, until next week, you guys take care, and always remember, it's not about the consoles, it is about the game. So until next time, you guys take care, be safe out there, bye-bye.